Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Coach Bill with Weight Loss Made Easy. I think it's still morning. Yep, 11:16. Just got done with doing my interval cardio today, which I do every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I do have an update coming up on Saturday morning on how my training's going as far as what we talked about about a month ago. And some of the research I'm doing on the type of training and the primal eating protocol that I'm doing. So I'll update everybody on how my lifting is going and how my body fat's going this Saturday. But anyway, let's dive right into this subject because it seems to be a question that some people have as far as how much protein should they eat per sitting or per day. There's a lot of information out there talking about it. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to dive into the science behind it and see what science says and see how it all works. And I'm going to be honest, guys, because I've always preached that too much protein per sitting will actually turn into fat, and in a sense that is basically true, but there's other factors involved that I didn't truly understand until I started getting some research on it and researching on the physiology of the digestive tract and how it all works and how protein is utilized in the body. Because there's a lot of, like I said, there's many factors involved. So let's go right into this. But first of all, let's just talk a little bit about how protein is broke down. Now, what I'm doing also is I've got a WordPress blog that I'm doing. And so I'm going to be putting this information in my blog and attaching it to this video. And it'll be more specific on all the science research I have, and it'll be in that WordPress, and it'll be more specific on how actually the digestive tract works. So basically, this video is an introduction to that, and it's going to give you a brief idea of what I'm about to talk about. And so, like I said, let's first of all talk about how protein is broke down. So you have your protein. It goes down the esophagus, it gets dumped into your stomach. The hydrochloric acid is then starting to, and the digestive enzymes are starting to break the protein down. Well, the protein is broke down, first of all, into polypeptides. Then it's converted into amino acids. Then those amino acids are then transported in parts of the body that actually needs it. So, in the liver, which is really interesting here, is your amino acid is your building blocks, let's just say, okay? And so when we're talking about, and I'm going to be talking about the amino acids that are in good, healthy, pasteurized, grass-fed meats, because in the meats is where all your amino acids is. And I mean, those of you that are on vegan or vegetarians, I understand the idea of trying to combine the proteins to get the complete chain of amino acids you need. But guys, really, God gave us meat for a reason, and the amino acids in those meats are very important, and they have all the aminos you need. Because remember what I just said, the amino acid is your building blocks. And so what happens is your liver, so let's kind of go back a little bit. So the object is you're eating more protein than you thought you're supposed to be eating, so you're worried about it turning into fat. Well, what the liver does is whatever excess amino acids that you have that is not transported into those certain areas of the body to repair, like repairing muscle or repairing whatever, it is then put into a pool in the liver. So imagine the liver as being your savings account. So the excess amino acids are put in that pool. Well, then think about this. So if you're actually doing some type of hard training session or some type of hard cardio session, and you're breaking tissue down, And if you don't consume enough of the protein that you need throughout the day when you're training, this is very important for those hardcore athletes or even those weekend warriors out there. You still need to understand this, how important the protein is and what type of protein you're consuming, and making sure you're getting the complete chain of amino acids. Well, what happens is that your body is going to say, hey man, I got to go into my savings account, the liver, and I need to pull out the amino acids and repair whatever has been damaged. So let's take, for example, those of you like me who are seniors, and you're looking to stay healthy. You're looking to add lean muscle because that was going to help to lose the excess body fat. And anti-aging. It also helps with anti-aging when you're adding more lean muscle. So when you're doing interval training as hard as my wife and I are doing, then we're causing stress to the muscles or damaging the tissues. We have plenty of stored up amino acids in our liver that's being delivered to that area to repair it and to add more lean muscle. Well, what happens is that the myth, I have to say it's a myth now, because as I'm learning more and more about it, and there's so much science about it, that there was research done by JAMA, and it took 25 subjects, men and women, and it divided them into 3 groups. The first group got a low amount of protein. The second group got moderate amount, and the third group got a larger amount, consuming more protein. Okay, each group, what they did was they added an extra 1,000 calories to their normal body function per day. So, I don't know, say for example, you check your metabolic, supposed to be 2,000 calories a day. They added an extra 1,000 calories to each group. Well, what was interesting, like I said, the information on this particular research will be more specific in my attachment to this YouTube video when I post it on YouTube, so you can read the specifics of it. And I'm also going to attach the research itself. But well, they found out that there was no difference in any kind of body fat. And so the ones that were eating very little protein versus the ones that were eating overly a bunch of protein, there was no difference in the amount of body fat that they added. Now, these were subjects. Now, let me explain something here. These were subjects that were healthy people but did not exercise. That's what they wanted. They wanted to take healthy people but did not have them do any kind of exercising at all. Okay, so there was no difference in all 3 groups. But this is what blew me away, and this is why doing continual education is so important, because science does change, and they always add more articles or more research that will back up what they have found. What was interesting was that the group that overate the protein actually gained lean muscle. Now, remember what I just said. There was no exercising involved here at all, okay? But they were healthy, all right? But the group that actually overate the protein, who did not exercise, actually added lean muscle. Now, most of you out there that have been in the health industry, you know that by adding lean muscle, what's going to happen down the line? Well, you're going to burn off that belly fat or that extra body fat. So I found that to be very interesting. Well, I also learned that it's very difficult for the body to turn the high protein diet into fat, because there's factors involved there. The body actually has a protective mechanism that will protect it from storing the fat. And this is what happens. It takes the excess amino acid and turns it into ammonia. which then the body will secrete that excess amino acid out your urine or out the door. Now, what they used was an example, and I was reading the example, and I thought, wow, that's right. I have smelled that before, not only on myself, but I've also smelled it on my wife, because every once in a while we'll have like a sweet ammonia smell. Okay, so when you're working out and you're training hard and you're sweating, and if you are smelling that like a sweet smell or ammonia smell, that is the excess amino acid being flushed out of the body. And so that's why it's very hard and when you overeat with protein per sitting or per day, that it will actually be turned to fat. Now, this is the kicker here. So what happens is, I just explained to you about the research that says the ones that ate high protein actually put on lean muscle and they didn't exercise. So if you're exercising and you're doing some kind of a strength training protocol, then how much quicker are you going to be putting on lean muscle, because you have enough of that pool in your liver to repair the muscles you're damaging and you're working out? And how much quicker, because you're adding lean muscle, that you are going to actually lose that body fat. Okay? So doesn't that make a lot of sense? I mean, I really think it does. And so I thought this research was very interesting. Now, like I said, guys, I'll be more specific in my WordPress blog, and I'm going to show you multiple researches, even one that is very specific on how the high protein actually has no effect or no health effect when you're training hard at all. Now, I'm not saying, guys, to go to a high protein diet. That's not what I'm saying here. Because science is also saying that we don't need as much protein as we thought we needed to build lean muscle, especially if you're following my primal eating lifestyle. That's why Emily and I came up with that 60-day online coaching, because we have 3 very, very powerful weight loss and health protocols. Intermittent or hydrogen-rich water, which is used for inflammation or flushing out the toxic chemicals. Intermittent or primal eating lifestyle to become fat adapted. So you're not only going to help flush out inflammation, but you're also going to be able to get the health benefits out of it. Lose that belly fat or body fat that you want to lose. And we're combining it with intermittent prolonged fasting to get us even to the next level of the health benefits. So you're getting all 3 of these protocols combined together to make it a very, very powerful. So those of you that might be interested in it, I want some info, just message me. Okay? And so, getting back to the subject before I lose my concentration here, I'm not saying that you should go on a carnivore diet, was what they call it, or a high protein diet, because science is already saying you don't need as much as you think. I've proven that along with my wife over a 2.5-year research showing how I cut my protein in half. And so no, I used to do like 200 to 300 grams a day. I maybe down to 90 to 100, and I'm still putting on lean muscle. But you don't have to, okay, if you're going out for a nice steak, or you think you're overeating the steak, you don't need to worry about it turning into fat, because the research is showing us that you can go 3 to 4 times higher in grams recommended, which means, let's say you're recommending it at 100 grams a day. You could eat up to 300 grams of protein per day. That's what the research is showing. Okay? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this bit of information. Like I said, go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it. I will attach the articles and the research articles, and more specific on what the research says, to my WordPress blog onto this video, so you can go to it and you can click on the research and read it yourself, and it might give you a better picture of what I'm talking about. So I hope I was able to explain to it in a way that you will understand that you don't need to really worry about overeating protein, because it takes a lot more, there's a lot of factors involved before it's actually turned into fat. Okay, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time around. Bye.